Brian mentioned, my name is Mark Hanna. I'm the chief of the Special Crimes Division, and that division is responsible for investigating and prosecuting human trafficking that occurs in Fort Bend County. First and foremost, I want to thank all the participating agencies that were involved in these investigations. As you can tell by the number of different agencies, that it's a very collaborative effort. These investigations take a lot of time and resources, and without the help of each one of those different agencies, we couldn't be nearly as successful as we are. I'd like to break down some of the statistics that Brian mentioned to you a moment ago. Our October, what we call a John Op, or an operation which we attempt to suppress buyers of sexual services, was named Trick or Treat. And that resulted in an investigation. That investigation resulted in approximately 26 arrests of individuals who are trying to purchase sex over the internet. And the goal of those operations, is, if it's not evident in just the description of them, is to suppress the demand for purchasing sex. And if we can do that, we can then reduce the victims that are involved in those operations and the human trafficking aspect of that. Our second operation was in November. It was headed by the Missouri City Police Department, in which all the other agencies assisted. Its name was Frontline, and it was a one-day operation that resulted in another 7 arrests of individuals who were trying to purchase sex. And then lastly, the operation in January was Snowflake, and it was a multiple purpose operation that included rescues and identifying traffickers, which are commonly referred to as pimps. We netted a 5 arrests of individuals that were engaged in human trafficking, and as Brian mentioned, we rescued 7 individuals that were being trafficked, along with one of those as a juvenile. And so those numbers alone just demonstrate the success that these operations have. By removing those individuals from that situation, it just makes a world of difference in their lives, and it also holds accountable the individuals that are trafficking those victims. And we do these operations, and we're going to continue to do these operations. As Brian mentioned, we are relentless in this here in Fort Bend County. We are trying to send a message to the community that if you engage in this kind of behavior, you're going to get caught. Every time you go online and look for sex, every time you try to solicit somebody to come and engage in this activity, you could be talking to a police officer. You could be communicating to an undercover officer, and we want the public to be aware of that so that they don't do it. It's not going to happen in Fort Bend County, and we're going to continue through these collaborative efforts to investigate these and prosecute people to the utmost extent that we can. What we also want the public to be aware of is that as of September 1, the solicitation of prostitution cases has become a felony, and we're going to treat them with the seriousness that they deserve. The legislature changed it from a misdemeanor offense to a felony offense. It became effective September 1 of last year. And we're handling those cases as they should be handled, as felonies, and we're going to hold the people that engage in this activity accountable. And again, lastly, I'd like to thank you all for being here and for our opportunity to express our what we've done in the community. And now I'll turn it over to the Sheriff's Office for your speech.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Norman Wong, Assistant Chief of the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office. On behalf of Sheriff Fagan, we really appreciate DA Middleton and being able to participate in these 3 operations. We're here, as the DA's office is, to make Fort Bend the safest county in America, and that's what we're striving to, whether it's for human trafficking or shooting or gangs. We're all behind the DAs and all supporting all the local law enforcement municipalities here to make sure that we have the safest county in America. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for everybody being here. My name is Tony Gracia. I'm with the Vice Division Human Trafficking Unit, commonly known as HATRA, which is the Human Trafficking Rescue Alliance of the Southern District of Texas. It's great to be partnered with Fort Bend County DA's office, Mr. Middleton, as well as Sheriff Fagan. Man, it's a big game changer out here in Fort Bend County. Don't come to Fort Bend County. They really mean business, okay? You already need to take it, when you're trying to sit there trying to purchase sex, you will be prosecuted. Human trafficking is modern day slavery. You have to sit there and realize that when evil men do nothing, when evil triumphs, good men do nothing. You know what? That's a saying that by Edmund Burke. And these guys over here in Fort Bend County, they do something. They want something to be done, and they just put people in jail because you know what? It's a bad thing. People need to take this human trafficking seriously, whether it's sex or labor trafficking in the communities and stuff. And I guess you see right here, it's a collaborative effort with all our partners that are part of our task force. It's serious, and that's all I have. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mary Magnus. I'm an Assistant Special Agent in charge with Homeland Security Investigations. On behalf of Mark Dawson, the Special Agent in charge, we would like to congratulate DA Middleton again for another successful operation. Just like Sergeant Gracia stated, Homeland Security Investigations is very grateful to be partnered with such wonderful law enforcement personnel as well as our district attorney here in Fort Bend County. Very successful. They're very serious down here, and anything that we can do on behalf of the communities nationwide or internationally, we're here to assist. Thank you again, DA Middleton, for having us.
Bridget, can you speak?
Good morning, everyone. I'm Bridget Smith-Lawson, the County Attorney for Fort Bend. I'm happy to be here in support of the District Attorney and law enforcement agencies in fighting human trafficking. My office will use civil remedies to do the best that we can to shut down any storefronts, any business operations that are promoting human trafficking in the form of just recently massages. We just rolled out a policy, a countywide policy against illicit massage parlors. So whatever efforts that my office can use to complement and to enhance the efforts to stomp out human trafficking and all forms of trafficking in Fort Bend County, we are happy to assist and will do our best and use our best efforts to make Fort Bend County safer for our families. Thank you so much. Thank you, DA Middleton.
In closing, I'd like to reiterate what Tony indicated, is that the Fort Bend County District Attorney means business. We are serious about the elimination of crime in our community, and anyone out there in our viewership who is considering or knows someone that is engaged in human trafficking, you should know we will hunt you down and we will hold you accountable. So thank you to all our partners who made this a success. And as I've said, and I will continue to say, we will be relentless in the pursuit of those responsible for human trafficking. Thank you. We'll entertain any questions at this time. Sorry, Matt.
You mentioned arrests. How many of those cases have resulted in charges, and what's kind of the range of charges on these cases?
Okay, I will ask Chief Mark Hanna to address that question.
The range, it varies depending on the nature of the offenses. There's some collateral offenses that come with these investigations, not only the solicitation of prostitution and the human trafficking charges, but some individuals were caught with illegal drugs and some were caught with weapons that they weren't permitted to have. So there's some additional charges that come as a result of that.
Any businesses that were fined or maybe with all of these arrests since October? Because someone mentioned businesses. If you have some sort of involvement in this kind of activities, did you shut any businesses? Did you find any business? Anybody?
Not during these three operations, no. But the county attorney's office is always there, involved in these investigations. For those purposes, if we do come across a situation in which a storefront or somebody is facilitating these kind of crimes, then there's civil remedies that the county attorney's office can prosecute.
Sir, you were referencing, I believe it was Operation Snowflake, where there were 7 rescues involved, including a child. Are you able to elaborate any more about any of those? I know it's sensitive sometimes, especially when we're dealing with victims, but are you able to tell us any more about those instances at all?
No, not at this time. We're not. They're still considered to be under investigation, and we're dealing with very sensitive information in addition to the age of some of the victims.
When you say a child, is that a girl or a boy?
Again, we're not going to disclose those kind of specifics about it, but it's somebody under the age of 18 that was involved in the trafficking.
What's the message to the parents? I mean, there's parents that probably don't know that their children are exposed to this kind of individuals out there. What's the message to them?
I mean, from a law enforcement perspective, we're here to hold accountable, rescue the victims and hold accountable the individuals that are engaged in this kind of activity. I'll leave that to somebody else to say exactly what kind of message should be driven to a parent of a victim.
What I would say is parents, be vigilant, protect your children. If you see something, say something. We're doing our level best to eradicate this problem, but we need your help. As between you and your children, there should be no secrecy. Monitor their online activity. Pay attention to what's going on in their lives. Human traffickers like to target children who they perceive as vulnerable. So if your child is going through a crisis, they're at risk, and you need to protect them. Even when we can't, because we're unaware of it, we need our citizens to assist us and be vigilant in protecting of our children. Once we find out, we will hold the guilty persons responsible, but we can't be in all places at all times. So we ask for the public's assistance in eliminating this problem. Yes, sir.
You said, I'm sorry, but following on that question.
Yes.
Maybe parents don't know, but where were these individuals? Like, how do they operate?
Well, we don't want to go into investigative techniques, but I can tell you sometimes this is done out in the open. Most often it's done online. So they use apps and social media to target the children. When people normally think of human trafficking, they think of the bassinet. Well, that's only a small part of human trafficking. Open air prostitution is just one small piece of it. Most of it's done online. And like we say, it's a crime that happens in plain sight. So you need to be aware if you see a child who looks uncomfortable, you see something that doesn't look savory, be alert. You may save a child's life, and you may be able to help us hold a criminal accountable.
And sir, was the majority of this operation done then facilitated online, undercover? Are you able to?
Those investigative techniques I don't want to reveal. I mean, we don't want the crooks to know all of our devices, but I will say it was used. Any other questions? No. Go. Speak up. On March 8th. Yeah, you go.
I'd like to respond in lines to the question about parents. Brian has created what we in this office is called the Human Trafficking Community Awareness Team. Rhonda Kirkendall is the chair of that division, of that team. And its goal is to educate the public about the human trafficking, the nature of it, how to recognize it, and how to respond to it. Rhonda has facilitated a number of different community events, in essence, called Speak Up, in which prosecutors from our office will do a presentation and sort of educate the public about what to look for, how these kinds of crimes occur, and how to maybe address those kinds of issues with your children. The next one is going to be on March 8th. I encourage you to look online for that Speak Up event, and it'll be live streamed, but also can be attended in person.
Rhonda, you want to speak to that and some of the other things you're doing with the cities?
Sure. We've talked a lot about illicit massage businesses here, and one of the jobs that the DA's office, the Community Awareness Human Trafficking Team, is working on is we're working within cities in Fort Bend County to implement conditional use permits to make it very difficult for illicit massage businesses to move into communities. We're working across Fort Bend County to get this implemented in like phase 1 to make sure they can't open up new ones. And then after we finish phase 1, we'll attempt to start working to close down existing ones. It's a very long process. I was in Missouri City Planning and Zoning last night. We're working on Missouri cities. So far, we have conditional use permits in Fulshear, Richmond, Rosenberg, Meadows Place, Pearland. I'm working on Missouri City. After that, I will be going to Katy, Sugar Land, Stafford, and that should be about the biggest cities in Fort Bend County that we're doing. So it's a collaborative effort with the human trafficking team. Our Speak Up events are meant to go into communities, make sure they're live streamed, so even if people can't be there in person, they can watch it online. I know that the University of Houston downtown, their social work program, they all log in and they watch it online. So the news is getting out, and we would love for y'all to join us on March 8th.
Thank you. Before we conclude, I'd like to thank who's here, Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission, Missouri City Police Department, and I think everyone else has spoken, but this is, Rhonda indicated, this is a collaborative effort, and as you can see, it's a multi-layered effort. I mean, we're attacking this problem at every angle that we can. We're working around the clock trying to eliminate this problem in Fort Bend, and I want the public to know we're talking about human trafficking, but we have other proactive operations in process. We're fighting back on this crime surge that we see in America. It's just not Texas, it's the whole nation, but you can rest assured that Fort Bend County is alert and is on duty and standing up for our citizens in protection of our community. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
What time do I need to be back here for the
It takes